Hello world of YouTube and welcome to part 2 of my Kanye West discography review. In this part I'm going to be talking about his albums My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, the collab album he has with JC, Watch the Throne, his collab album he has with his label Good Music, Cruel Summer, and his album Yeezus, which came out last year. If you missed part 1 where I talk about college dropout through 808s and heartbreak and you want to check that out, it is the first link in the under thingy. It is part 1. If you missed out why I'm doing this discography review, it is because I recently reached 500 subscribers, and I'm here to talk about an artist who I'm not all that into. With that being said, let's get into these records now. Now, the first record in this decade is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which was released back in 2010. And this production really makes me want to love this record. But Kanye himself, as a performer, makes me want to hate this goddamn record. Because I fucking love how lush this thing sounds. I love the sample of King Crimson on Power. I love the beat of that, of Gorgeous, of All the Live Monster, of fucking Runaway. Runaway is one of the greatest hip-hop beats I've heard in a long time. But Kanye just shits himself on this goddamn record as a rapper. I mean, I really want to like this thing, but I can't because Kanye just isn't good on it. It opens on Dark Fantasy with this really weird introduction narration by Nicki Minaj, I think, and it doesn't work. On this track and throughout the record, Kanye tries his off-key singing thing that he's done before, but it's not as charming as it was on those records. In fact, it sounds even worse when backed by this awesome production like Runaway. Runaway has this brilliant opening. That's the best use of Kanye's overproduced, overcompressed, in-your-face thing. And then he starts rapping, and it doesn't work. It's slightly above middle of the road because of the production. I mean, Kanye's lyrical prowess isn't really here on here. Even on a track like Monster that's full of these MCs going at it, like Jay has an okay verse, Nicki has a better than okay verse, Rick is meh, Kanye is meh. He is meh. He's meh on Gorgeous. Power, some of his wordplay, well, it thinks is clever, isn't all that clever. Runaway, again, the entirety of him on that track, the auto-tune solo, everything, degrades the track for me. I mean, just I hate that I want to critique this record so critically because the production is so great. Even All of the Lights, he doesn't sound horrible. This record is just meh. It's okay. I guess because of the way that the positives and the negatives meet in the middle. It's above okay because the production is just so damn good. His content lyrically is very self-centered, like Kanye kind of, I guess, is expected to be by this point. I don't know. It feels to me, after listening to his discography, it kind of comes out of nowhere because, yeah, he did some braggadocious stuff on Graduation and even on College Dropout and Late Registration. It wasn't to this caliber. I feel like Kanye just snapped one day. I was like, I'm going to make brag raps that just don't make sense. I know a lot of people like this thing, and I really don't see why. I don't see why people can take Kanye even seriously on this record. He's been better. He's been better as a rapper. As a producer, this is best. This is best. If this was an instrumental record or he had Justice features, that'd be cool. But he's got a rap on it, and it doesn't sound that good. That's what I have to say about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. My favorite track is, I want to say Runaway, because, my God, I love Runaway's production. Runaway's production is really, really good. I mean, just the way the piano sounds. And that's not the only track like that. I mean, Blame Game has great production. See Me Now How's Good. Like, this thing is just lush as shit. The electronics sound punchy in the best way possible. And it works. Just, Kanye doesn't. And I'm sorry to say that's why this record gets a middle of the road, but that's how it is. He can't just make great production and shit and make the record a genius masterpiece to me. He has to be good. and he's not. So yeah, that's that. Let's talk about The Throne, shall we? And the next album he released is a collab album with Jay-Z called Watch the Throne, and this is supposed to be this, like, grand as shit experience that basically ends up being just a pop rap record by two influential artists in rap, Jay-Z and Kanye West. And to me, I've always felt that Kanye is not to the caliber to where he can be stacked as a full feature to Jay. I don't feel like Kanye is on the same level as Jay as a rapper. Jay's made more better records than Kanye, but at the point in their career, I guess they're kind of at the same point. Jay isn't as good as he used to be, and Kanye isn't as good as he's going to be. But what does this make this record? Middle of the road. It's very inoffensive. It's the second inoffensive thing Kanye has ever really done in his discography, and maybe the cajillion thing Jay's ever done in his by this point. But this album opens up pretty strongly. It has one of my favorite tracks on the opener with No Church in the Wild. It has this very great grand imagery painted really well by Kanye and Jay, and then they just start talking about brag shit. It's ruined by the middle of the first verse, but the beat's really good. It has this really good build up to it, and that's one of the great instances of the two of them working well together. Another one is Murder to Excellence, where it's one of the few tracks where they're not really talking a whole lot about brag shit, and I think it works. It's good. I want more of that on this record. I didn't get that, but that's what I wanted, and it works well. But I mean, a majority of the tracks are just them talk about brag stuff, pop rap stuff, with some production that is either good or less than stellar. Like Otis, the first single to drop from this thing, I've heard sampled better by Mastakilla on No Said Date. Because Paris has a really good beat, but Kanye kind of ruins it with his verse. Because Jay-Z is inoffensive, whatever, but Kanye's Married at the Mall, Bathroom Stall, rhyme thing doesn't work. Lift Off is an inoffensive track with Beyonce. I mean, and it's a good bit of these good bit of these tracks. It's either women or just how rich they are, which is a good bit of the record is talking about them being fancy. And while they try it in a clever way on Niggas in Paris, and it works to a degree, it's still kind of a meh track that builds to a joke from a Will Ferrell movie. It's just... This album is very... It's like Stronger 2.0 almost, because it's got its moments of they're okay, better than okay, but a lot of it is just mediocre, middle-of-the-road pop rap. Set to production that, while it has its moments like on Murder to Excellence and Niggas in Paris even, and No Church in the Wild and Made in America, as a whole, it's meh. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. It's not really... There's not much to this record, so there isn't a whole lot that I can say that is either critiquing it or praising it, other than this beat sounds okay, and their flow is decent, because what they're talking about has no depth to it. So yeah, my favorite track is Murder to Excellence. Let's talk about Yeezus, shall we? I forgot about Cruel Summer. The next thing released under Kanye's discography is the Cruel Summer collection collaborative album he put out with his label mates under Good Music. And this thing is a mixed bag. The production is either okay to meh to really good. Mercy being the best out of the whole album. I feel like that shit just gets me hyped. Like, fucking crazy. I love the sample. I like the way it's constructed. I like the minimalism within it, but it's bogged down by Big Sean and 2 Chainz, who are meh. And Kanye's even kind of meh. Pusha T is probably the biggest, strongest player on this thing. I mean, he has pretty good verses. Like, Mercy's verse is good. His verse on The Morning is pretty alright. Same with New God Flow and Higher. But it also has people on that I don't like Chief Keef and Big Sean, and Shy the Prince, who's okay. For every good verse or artist, there's one that counteracts that indefinitely. For every Ghostface, there's a 2 Chainz. For every Common and Raekwon, there's something that just counteracts it. Lyrically, it is middle of the road as well, because again, you're kind of bouncing off of people's verses who are great or not so great. So it just kind of leaves me very indifferent about it. Like, it's something I won't revisit, except for maybe a track here or a track there. As a whole, it just feels like a whole mess of stuff. Like Click, Big Sean, which ironically calls out that good music's better than Wu-Tang when Wu-Tang members are on this thing. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's a really interesting release. A lot of the choruses are very unforgettable, and as a whole, it's mediocre to an extent. The beats are very mainstream trap rap styled, and for the most part they're kind of meh with a few exceptions, and the verses are the same. So yeah. Favorite song is Mercy, Pusha T's verse on Mercy specifically. And the last album he's released so far is called Yeezus, which was released last year, and I really don't like this thing. This is the epitome of what I don't like about Kanye mashed into a record. I had this conversation with Austin where he was saying that Kanye is an artist worth talking about because he's at least trying to be ambitious. And while I can respect his need to be ambitious, instrumentally, he is not completely grasping what makes the music he's trying to be so great. And that's why I feel like he fails in terms of execution on this record. Yes, the beats are very abrasive and very harsh and very in your face, but it doesn't work to me on a conceptual level because Kanye is either trying too hard to act like Saul Williams or try too hard to act like Death Grips, without completely grasping lyrically how they work. He's trying to be himself. He's trying to put his own spin on their style, and I don't feel like it works. Like on Black Skinhead, he's just trying to sell this whole black oppression thing, but it doesn't work because of his verses. I Am God, he's trying this style with him, talking about I may be a man of God, but I am a God myself. That doesn't work. New Slaves, continuing the Black Skinhead thing, doesn't work. Bound 2, a love song. It doesn't work sonically with this. It doesn't sound good. He's trying, and I guess to some people that's enough, but it's not to me. Yes, the beats in themselves are interesting, and they are very glitch-oriented, but his overproduced vocals, the way that he sounds, the way that he's constructing his verses, what they're about, do not work. And so artistically, yes, he's being progressive, but he's not taking the full step forward. He's merely turning in an aspect. And that's one of my biggest problems with this record. He's trying to make mainstream sensibilities and lyrical content different, and I feel like that's an issue. I'm fine with people being progressive and changing how they sound, and if they present the new ideals, I feel like that's even better, and it makes them even more relevant. Kanye talking about the same stuff he's talked about over different beats isn't that progressive, nor is it all that worth continuing to talk about. Kanye is one of those artists where he does want to be ambitious. I just wish he would present something new lyrically, some new ideals, something fresh to talk about. Because painting a barn blue may not make it red, but it's still a blue barn. You know what I'm saying? So that's my biggest issue with this. His imagery, everything he's painting, everything he's talking about isn't new, nor is it interesting to listen to. And just shouting it at me with louder production doesn't make it any better. It just makes it worse, in fact. Yes, it is different. Yes, it is fresh sonically. But Kanye-wise, it's still very the same. And that's what makes this kind of a bad record to me. He's trying to be different without changing much, and that's my issue with it. Yes, he is opening people to the idea of artists that I like Death Grips and Saul Williams, but both of them are better than this, and what's sad is people would look at that but not commit to it because it isn't Kanye, and that's also the bad thing about it. He may be introducing people to these ideals that those people rap about sonically, but he doesn't continue their narrative. He just tries his own narrative with it, and again, it doesn't work. That's my issue with Yeezus. I will say that I do like some of the beats. I do think that they've been done better within this genre, and Kanye's merely scratching the surface of it. But I will praise that he is trying something new. I just feel like he falters on it. That's pretty much it. That's all I pretty much have to say about Yeezus. My favorite song, I don't think I have a favorite song on this record. I really don't like a lot of it. I guess the beat on Black Skinhead or New Slaves, because those beats are okay. But other than that, I don't have a favorite song. And that's been my Kanye West discography review. I know some of you don't really agree with what I have to say about it, but hopefully you at least respect my opinion on what I have to say about Kanye West. I said in the update my next discography review is going to be Nirvana. It's probably going to be Meshuggah, because while I've been listening to Kanye a lot, I've also been listening to Meshuggah a lot. So they're probably going to be next. Hopefully you guys are excited for that. I've been Viralrak. You guys are good at lots of situations, and I'll see you another day.